Right, we've just got some breaking news that the hearing has begun in the NEET re-examination case. What we're getting to hear is that can only be on a concrete footing and that the sanctity has been on large scale. Okay, we're just getting this news right now, just trying to figure out more details. But the hearing into the re-examination case into the NEET controversy has already begun. The Chief Justice saying that we have seen the second status report filed by the CBI as well. Both my learned brothers have seen it as well. This is what we're getting from the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. If what the CBI has told us out in the open at this stage, investigation will be hampered. These are the words coming in on desealing CBI status report. We are getting more details, but I'm going to go straight across now to Anshul, who's getting us more details on this. Anshul, I'm just going to toss it to you. Just fill us in with all the details.
So yes, this morning, as soon as the bench headed by the Chief Justice of India sat in courtroom number 1, the first point that the Chief Justice made was that they will take up the NEET issue as soon as possible because the life of more than 2 million students are dependent upon it, and students are eagerly waiting for this, for the results of this hearing to come out now. As the hearing has started, the Central Bureau of Investigation has gone ahead and filed its second status report in front of the Supreme Court. Last time around, that was last week, the first status report was filed in which the CBI had claimed that the proofs that have come to the fore, or what has happened in the investigation, it seems like at that point that this was a localized paper leak. Now this time around as well, the second status report has been filed in front of the Supreme Court. Now the Chief Justice of India says that if at all the details of that status report is said out loud, then it could hamper the investigation because the investigation is still at its very initial stages. It has not been even 1 month since the Central Bureau of Investigation has taken over these cases. But if we specifically speak about the investigation that has happened this morning as well, the Central Bureau of Investigation had arrested 3 people, which means that a total of 5 people have been arrested by the CBI over the last 1 week since the time the last status report was filed. And now somewhere or the other, it raises a lot of questions that so many people had access to these question papers, and hence it becomes a part of this investigation that if at all these people, at least 5 people who have been arrested over the last 1 week, if at all these people had sent these question papers and solved answer sheets to other people in other states as well. This is something that is being investigated at this point in time. In fact, the council had replied to the Chief Justice of India that even in that status report, the CBI has not come up with a conclusive number as to how many students might have been affected or might have been benefited from this paper leak, and this is a handicap that is in front of the court at this point in time. The hearing has started. Affidavit from the second affidavit from the side of the NTA has been filed last night as well, in which they had gone ahead and claimed that the students who had given the exams, the re-examinations for the NEET, in which the grace marks were given. In fact, the students who were given the grace marks, they were given an option to appear in that re-examinations. Now 6 students who appeared from the Jhajjar Center, in which all of them had gotten full marks after they were given grace marks by the NTA. NTA in that affidavit has claimed that all these 6 students have scored almost similar marks as they had scored the last time around. However, the exact marks has not been mentioned by the NTA in that affidavit. And now this is going to be a big challenge for the National Testing Agency and the government agencies to actually go ahead and build that confidence amongst the students and convince the courts that this was a localized paper leak and there is no need of a re-examination. Now the CJI has also made this very clear that a re-examination could only happen if there is a case of loss of sanctity of the exams at a large scale, and that is something that is being investigated. There is no correct way to find out as to how many students might have been benefited.
Indeed, Sharon is also joining us. Anshul, kindly stay on with me. Sharon, the Supreme Court has also reassured all of the petitioners and the students in particular that if the entire exam has been vitiated, there could perhaps be a retest. CBI has made so many arrests so far. Detention of 4 doctors from Patna has also been made, including the mastermind, the kingpin, Rocky alias Rakesh Ranjan. So on the matter of a retest, what really is the evidence that the CBI has provided to the court that it was a localized leak?
Well, the exclusive details that was accessed 2 days back by CNN News 18, the affidavit or the status report that has been submitted by the CBI to the Supreme Court on 10th of July, because that is when the last hearing was, and then the hearing couldn't proceed after that. And today is when the hearing is being taken up. The status report has now been read by all the judges who are hearing the matter. The information that was in fact that CNN News 18 obtained is that there seems to be no such organized nexus or a nexus that is behind the paper leak that has happened when it comes to the NEET-UG 2024. In fact, the information that we are getting is that the number of students who were involved in this paper leak is in fact very minute. It could in fact be less than 100 is what the status report has been saying. But so far, the investigation is still going on. Apart from that, all details regarding who were the beneficiaries, who all have in fact been benefited because of the paper leak, whether they could be identified, can this in fact be stopped, is it a widespread paper leak, has impacted widespread. All these detail has in fact been submitted by the CBI, and accordingly now the apex court will in fact be taking a decision. We have seen what this CGI has been saying, that a re-examination can only be ordered if the sanctity of the examination has been lost completely. Now, what the NTA in their submission has been saying is that this is not a systematic failure. It could be a paper leak at an individual level. This is not an interstate nexus or like an organized nexus of paper leak that is happening. At a very region-specific way is how the paper leak has happened, and accordingly there should not be a re-examination. Why is the NTA and the Education Ministry has been saying no for a re-examination here is that they have been saying that this is region-specific, and more than that, when we talk about these 23 lakh students, they have to once again appear for the examination. There is going to be mental stress, financial stress, because some of the centers are going to be in rural areas, which is, sometimes 600 kilometers away from the said residence of the aspirants. So all this taken into consideration, what the NTA has been saying is that in case, it seems that the paper leak has in fact been region specific, and hence there should not be a re-examination. But the students here, of course, have been demanding a re-examination. Majority of them has been demanding, because they have been saying that when it comes to this paper leak, it seems a lot of students have been benefited, which eventually led to an inflated score of these students. This is not the, it seems it has not been seen before, where 67 students have got 720 out of 720. Not just that, Avantika, if you see a number of students, huge number of students were able to obtain mark between 650 to 715.
Absolutely.
Which is very rare, is what the students have been saying. And that is what the main contention of the students have been, that it seems that because of the grace mark, because of the paper leak, it seems a lot of students have been benefited, and hence a re-examination should be done, because even with a 620, 650 mark of a genuine aspirant, this time they will not be able to get into their preferred colleges, because a huge number of students have been able to get marks in that particular bracket, and that is why a demand of the re-examination has come. Now, of course, all parties have in fact submitted their affidavit, and they are being looked into by the Supreme Court at the moment.
Absolutely. Anshul, but I wanted to understand from you, the Supreme Court initially, when this entire scam came to light, when it broke, when the story broke, had said that the sanctity, all right, we have lost Anshul's line. Sharon, if I may ask you this question, the Supreme Court initially had themselves observed that the sanctity of this examination was compromised. Now, why is it that the CBI is saying it's a localized leak? Has the CBI been able to give enough evidence to prove to the court that, this is a localized leak? Have they been able to locate all the beneficiaries of this particular leak, given the fact that the Supreme Court is hearing a batch of over 50 petitions?
Well, remember initially when the paper leak, investigation started, there were FIRs that were filed in multiple states. That includes Bihar, Godhra in Gujarat, apart from that in Rajasthan and Delhi. But specifically right now the CBI is looking into Godhra as well as the Patna, where, in these two states specifically the investigation is going on. And as far as the status report of the CBI is concerned, they have been saying that it seems it has been on an individual capacity. There are two instances that in their status report they have in fact highlighted. One is that there has been cases where the scam has happened, where some of the people had told students that they will be given a question paper